Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks. Day 20 of the lockdown and a quick update here of the current situation in Spain. Firstly, thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. I'll have a look at some of those at the end of this particular video. But firstly, we'll have a look and see what the current state of affairs is in Spain. Now, hot off the press, Spain has overtaken Italy in the spread of this problem, and we can see here the amount of people that have passed away in the last 24 hours. So news not good from that point of view, that Spain has overtaken Italy. Another report here says that the government is preparing 15 more days of home confinement until the 26th of April. So it's the 3rd of April today, so another 23 days to go if this report is true. Now, this is a rumor at this stage. Nothing has been confirmed, but I read earlier today that Italy has also extended their lockdown or confinement until May. So if Spain is following Italy, then most likely this will be the case. But again, nothing 100% confirmed on this. The government yesterday proclaimed that we have reached the end of the stabilisation phase of this problem, and the Minister of Health yesterday said that there is a tone of hope and expressions such as there is light at the end of the tunnel, but he said that there are still some tough weeks left. Now, if you were living in Spain during the 2008, 2009, 2010 financial crisis, the crisis that absolutely decimated Spain, you will remember that in 2009, ministers were saying that they could see light at the end of the tunnel, or they called them green shoots. But unfortunately, those green shoots took another 4 or 5 years to develop. So sometimes we need to take what people say here with a pinch of salt. So not good to be too optimistic when we read things like this, but you never know. Now, another article here says that the government ignored the WHO, the World Health Organization, 5 times in February. So we can see here that Spain went into this crisis underprepared, and we are paying the consequences for it today. Now, the crisis has also brought with it the worst March on record for Spain's labour market. Jobless claims have surged by 302,000 people, and social security affiliations have slumped by over 800,000. Now, a lot of people have been laid off, a lot of people have lost their jobs, and apparently the situation is only going to get worse, because we can see here that companies are preparing for a wave of layoffs for when the state alarm ends, because obviously at the moment companies are a bit restricted to what they can do, but when the state of alarm finishes, apparently a lot more companies are going to prepare layoffs. So not good news there. Now, the government has created an account for donations to help fight the problem. The donated money will be made available to the Ministry of Health for the purchase of material and research. So as we can see here, citizens are being asked to put their hands into their pockets and give donations in order to help the government deal with the problem. So there we go. Now, another piece of news here that I saw is that bullfighters have asked the Spanish government for 700 million to help save the sport. So bullfighting is one of the sectors that is going to be hard hit by this, because remember that we're coming into the bullfighting season here in Spain. And if these bullfights are not able to take place, then obviously they're going to lose a lot of money. Now, I know a lot of people will be happy about this, but again, it is an important industry here in Spain, and they've asked the government for a 700 billion euro handout. Now, apparently there are some villages and towns around Spain that have armoured against the virus and outsiders. They have put in concrete blocks, fences, mountains of earth in order to block the passage of people coming into these towns in case these people are infected, which is a bit strange because obviously at the moment nobody is allowed to travel anywhere, but apparently some smaller villages and towns have set up these roadblocks and concrete blocks, as we can see, to stop people coming in. So villagers taking their own precautions there. Now, an interesting piece of news that I saw here, and it was that why are Spaniards buying more beer and chocolate? Psychologists have shared their thoughts on why shoppers have swapped toilet paper for wine during the first 2 weeks of the alarm. And we can see here that shoppers in Spain are buying more alcohol since the state of alarm. Beer sales rose by 77.65%. Wine jumped by 62.7%, alcoholic drinks by 36.58%. The demand for toilet paper has stabilized. Other products have seen a spectacular rise in sales, for example, olives, potato chips, chocolate, ice cream and anchovies. And the sale of flour has shot up by 196% with respect to the previous week. it would appear that people have decided the best way to cope with lockdown conditions is to set up a bar and a cake shop at home. And apparently the reason for this, according to psychologists, is that people want to give themselves a treat. They're feeling a bit depressed, they're feeling a bit sad, so when they go shopping, they look for something to lift their spirits. Alcohol, chocolate, and other products like this, products that you could call luxury products in these times. Now, the situation in Spain has changed the Spanish in 15 days. They've gone from fear to not so bad. And we can see here that we've gone through various phases, from denial to acceptance through to fear. But perhaps the most dangerous is yet to come. And we can see a picture here of somebody on the balcony with the guitar and a drink in hand, another person checking their social media. So people are getting used to the situation and doing their best to get through these tough times. Now, some comments from the last video. The first one here from Garnillo1. Thanks for these updates. I'm really interested in the current state of matters in Spain. I have been planning to move to Andalusia in June or July. Fingers crossed the situation normalizes by that time. Now, again, it might be a little bit optimistic to think that things will get back to normal by that time. I really don't know. But if the lockdown continues until the end of this month, we might be able to come out in May, and maybe in June, July, things could get back to some type of normality. So again, as this person says here, fingers crossed on that. Tina P says that they left Spain on the final flight to New Zealand. Just out of my first 14 days of self-isolation, I can now go for outdoor walks. You guys around the world should take a lead from New Zealand on how to curtail this. My experience in Barcelona airport was abysmal. Police went into Franco dictatorship mode. Scary. Now, a lot of people have been saying that Spain is going back to the days of Franco. Now, I don't know what those days were like. I didn't live in the country then. I've heard stories from my girlfriend's parents and grandparents about what it was like. But to be honest, I think that the Franco dictatorship was a whole nother kettle of fish. And I don't think we're going into anything similar. Even though these days are very restrictive, I don't think we're going to go back to the days of the 50s and 60s here in Spain. But again, who knows? Dave Clark says, "Hi Stuart, read the Postal service. We've had no postal letters for weeks, no yellow postal mopeds either. Great videos, keep them coming." Now, I mentioned the other day that I wasn't sure whether postal services in Spain were working, but a lot of people did write comments saying that in their particular area, the mail was getting through, and there's no problems in the UK regarding the service. Here in Calpe, for example, and where I am here in Madrid, I'm in a place called Rivas, we haven't had mail for a few weeks now, but yesterday I found out what the reason for that was, and it was because somebody in the local post office came down with the virus and everybody else there had to be put into 14 days quarantine. So they haven't been able to deliver the mail, but hopefully in the coming weeks everything will get back to normal, and I presume that something similar has happened there. But people in Andalusia have told me that the postal service is working okay, and other places around Spain, apparently the postal system is working okay, and you can also get deliveries from Amazon with relative ease, so no problems there. Hernandesco says, "Hey Stuart, thanks for the updates. I'm in Toronto, Canada, and I've been watching you for a few weeks. I feel like watching you was like a window into the future of what was to come here locally. Spain and Italy have been a good lesson for us all to get ahead of this thing as much as one can." And he wants to know if they are tracking mobile phones yet. Now, I don't know if the government is tracking mobile phones at the moment. I read in the paper that that was a possibility. It could be in place. I don't know. I'll have to do a bit of research on that. But it's interesting to see that people are looking at the problems in Spain and Italy as a template for what could happen in their particular country. So I'll keep putting these videos out so you can get an idea of what we're going through here. And hopefully you guys in the rest of the world won't have to go through the same things here. Matthew Taylor says, "Hi Stuart, thanks for all the updates during this time. They've been a big help. Just moved to Valencia recently, work in the UK usually and travel back and forth. Can't see things going back to the way they were for this year at least. Was wondering if you would be able to link in the description the news articles you share. Now I'll tell you what my news sources are. I get articles here from El País, El Mundo, Confidencial, La Razón, also a paper called Público. There's another one here called the Olive Press, another one called The Local, some television stations as well, La Sexta, Cuatro, sometimes the first channel here in Spain, Televisión Española. So that's where I get my information from, and I sort of put it all together and put the videos out. So I get information from the left, from the right, from the center, all of the information that I can. I try to put it into English for you to understand the situation here. Traveling Birder says the shopping restrictions are particularly hard on the elderly, infirm and those without their own transport. Here in Cantoria, we are only allowed to go to the shop every 2 days. So again, different areas, different restrictions. Not everybody has the €30 limit. Some places you are allowed to go about your day-to-day and buy bread in the morning and something for lunch. But there are some areas in Spain that have put a minimum limit on how much you can buy every time you go to the shop. So just check in your local area about that. Nilgiri says, Stuart, are you removing my comments? Now, not that I know of, Nilgiri. I haven't removed any comments. Maybe your comments go through to spam or another folder that I have to check. At the moment, I don't have time to go through the spam or that other folder that I'm talking about there because there's just too many comments coming up. But I did go through some of the other videos and see if your comments were there, and I saw a lot of comments from you, so I don't think that you are being removed. Sue Wilson says, how about a mention for Amancio Ortega, the owner of Thada? He has just donated €63 million for medical equipment, ventilators, etc. This is very good news, giving hope to many. Thanks for the updates. Now, I did see that in the paper the other day that the owner of Inditex, Mr. Ortega, had donated a huge amount of medical equipment. It's not the first time that he has done these type of donations, but unfortunately in Spain, these private donations are very politicized and they don't often get through to some of the newspapers or television stations because some members of the government don't like to recognize private individuals helping. They like to think that it is the state that needs to take care of this and not private individuals. Fred says here that the Costa Blanca Guardia Civil stopped them on the way to the supermarket and they were issued fines for more than one leaving the apartment, and he didn't realize this. Now, again, 2 people are not allowed to travel in a car at the same time. 2 people are not allowed to be seen together. This is why the police are fining people. You can't go to the supermarket with your partner. You can't go to the supermarket with your son. I've had a few people say that maybe elderly people, you need somebody to help you carry your groceries. I don't know what the situation is in those particular cases, but if you are stopped by the Guardia Civil or the police and you have 2 people in the car, most likely you will get fined. So remember, only one person out at a time. Now that's all that I have today. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. I'll let you guys debate the situation out in the comments section. Please let us know how your lockdown is going, how you're getting through it, what you're doing. If you are rewarding yourself with a special treat, let us know in the comments section. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.